I, 32M. That's all you need to know for now. No fluff, no unnecessary backstory. Just a man who was about to marry the love of his life, only to have his own family rip that moment away in the most twisted way possible. My wedding day was supposed to be a celebration, a new beginning. Instead, it turned into a nightmare orchestrated by the very people who were supposed to love and support me. And for what? Some delusional fantasy of reuniting me with a woman who shattered my trust years ago? Let's back up. My fiancée, now wife, is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Smart, kind, and nothing like my ex, the woman who cheated on me multiple times and gaslit me into thinking I was the problem. It took me years to rebuild myself after that disaster. My parents, however, they never let go. They loved my ex, thought she was the one that got away. When I moved on, they called me immature and said I was throwing away something special. Never mind that she was the one screwing other guys behind my back. When I got engaged, my parents were civil at first. A little cold, but I figured they'd come around. My fiancée was polite, accommodating. She even went out of her way to include them in wedding plans. Big mistake. Looking back, I should have known something was off. They were too interested in details, especially the guest list. But I was too busy with work, with planning, with life, to see what was coming. The day of the wedding arrives. I'm in my suit, nerves buzzing, excited. Then, minutes before the ceremony, my brother pulls me aside, looking like he's seen a ghost. "You're not going to believe this," he says. "Mom and Dad invited your ex." I laughed at first, because no way. That would be insane, right? They wouldn't do that. But the look on my brother's face told me everything. I stormed out of the room, pushing through guests until I spotted my mother near the entrance, chatting happily. Next to her, my ex standing there like she belonged, wearing a dress that was far too formal for a coincidental appearance. The moment she saw me, she put on that fake, teary-eyed smile. "Oh my God, it's so good to see you." I turned to my mother. What the hell is she doing here? Mom didn't even flinch. "We invited her." "Sweetheart, just listen." "No, I wasn't about to let her spin this." "You invited my ex to my wedding? Are you insane?" My father stepped in then, voice calm like he wasn't actively ruining my day. "We thought you needed one last chance to really think about what you're doing." My stomach dropped. "Think about what I'm doing?" Mom sighed, as if I was the unreasonable one. "You and your ex had something special. We just wanted to give you an opportunity." "To what?" I interrupted. "To humiliate my fiancé? To ruin my wedding? To make me look like some kind of fool who doesn't know what he wants?" My ex piped up then, voice soft, rehearsed. "I still love you." I turned to her, and I swear, I felt nothing. Not anger, not pain, just disgust. "You love me?" I scoffed. "That's rich, coming from someone who had a second boyfriend the entire time we were together." She flinched. "It wasn't like that." "Oh, it was exactly like that." I looked at my parents, waiting for them to show even an ounce of regret. But no, my father had that stupid, disappointed dad look like I was the one embarrassing him. Then I spotted my fiancée. She was standing a few feet away, eyes locked on the scene. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just some last-minute sabotage. This was intentional. They thought they could manipulate me, pressure me into backing out at the altar. I turned back to my parents, voice steady. "Leave." Mom's face twisted. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Get out. You're not welcome here." Dad let out a harsh laugh. "We're your parents, and you just proved that means nothing to you." They started arguing, trying to rationalize, but I didn't care. I turned to my best man, my brother, who, to his credit, looked absolutely pissed. "Make sure they're gone." And just like that, my parents and ex were escorted out of my wedding. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? That after being physically removed from my wedding, my parents would get the hint. That they'd feel some level of shame, realize they crossed a line, and maybe reflect on their actions. No, that's not how entitled people operate. The ceremony went on. My fiancée, God bless her, held my hand so tight, as if grounding me. We exchanged vows at our first dance and tried to move forward. But that ugly moment still clung to me, poisoning what should have been the happiest day of my life. Then, just as we were starting to relax at the reception, my phone buzzed. Non-stop. Text after text. Voicemail notifications piling up. Mom, you're making a mistake. Dad, this isn't how you treat family. Mom, we're doing this because we love you. Dad, you'll regret this. She'll leave you like all the others. It was almost funny, like they actually thought they could guilt me into undoing my marriage because they got themselves kicked out. I blocked them. Both of them. No hesitation. That's when the flying monkeys came in. Relatives who hadn't spoken to me in years suddenly cared deeply about family unity. An aunt called, telling me my parents were distraught and I was being cruel. A cousin messaged me, saying they were only trying to help. Help? By humiliating my wife? By ambushing me with a cheating ex on my wedding day? I shut them all down. Blocked numbers, ignored emails. My brother, who was just as disgusted as I was, handled anyone who tried to pull him into it. He told them in no uncertain terms, if you side with them, you're dead to us. But my parents weren't done. The smear campaign. A week into my honeymoon, my brother called, voice tight with barely contained rage. Dude, they're telling everyone you attacked Mom. What? I nearly dropped the phone. They're playing the victims, saying you screamed at them for no reason, that you physically threw them out, and that your wife has poisoned you against the family. I felt my stomach turn. This wasn't just annoying anymore. This was dangerous. False accusations like that? They could ruin someone's reputation. My career. I pulled up Facebook. Sure enough, there was a public post from my mother. We did our best. We loved our son unconditionally, but he let his new wife turn him against us. We only wanted to save him from making a terrible mistake, but he reacted with anger and violence. He physically pushed us out of his wedding. We are heartbroken. If anyone has advice on how to reach a son who has lost his way, please message us. And below, comments flooding in, I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this. Some women are just manipulative like that. You raised him better. Don't give up on him. I saw red. They weren't just trying to guilt me. They were trying to destroy me. My wife saw my face and grabbed my hand. What is it? I showed her the post. She read it. Then, in the calmest voice I'd ever heard, she said, we're suing them. The lawsuit. At first, I thought my wife was just venting, but she was serious. Dead serious. They just publicly accuse you of assault, she said. That's defamation. We're not letting them get away with this. I wasn't sure at first. Did I really want to escalate this into a legal battle? But then I thought about it. My parents had already crossed every line imaginable. They tried to humiliate my wife, manipulate me at the altar, and now they were trying to make the world believe I was some violent, ungrateful son who attacked his own mother. No, enough was enough. So I contacted a lawyer. He looked at my mother's post, at the messages and emails they'd been sending me and my brother, and immediately said, yeah, this is a case. Defamation is tricky, but in the U.S., the key to proving it is showing harm. My parents weren't just airing grievances. They were spreading outright lies that could damage my reputation and career. I worked in a field where character matters. If their nonsense spread far enough, it could cost me opportunities. So, we sent them a cease and desist letter first, basically telling them to delete everything and publicly retract their statements, or face a lawsuit. Did they comply? Of course not. Instead, they doubled down. My father even posted something new. We won't be silenced. The truth will come out. We only hope our son wakes up before it's too late. That was all we needed. We sued them for defamation. The case wasn't huge. We weren't looking for money, just a public retraction and for them to shut the hell up. But the moment they got served, oh, the meltdown. Mom called, crying, screaming that I was ruining the family. Dad emailed me, calling me disgusting for dragging them to court. Their Facebook pity parade backfired spectacularly when people saw that I was taking legal action. Suddenly, those same relatives who had been blindly supporting them started backtracking. It took months, but in the end, they lost. The judge ordered them to issue a public apology and remove every single lie they posted. They had to pay my legal fees, not a massive amount, but enough to sting. And most importantly, the ruling made it clear they lied. Now, their reputation was the one in shambles. The final blow. You'd think that would be the end of it, that they'd finally back off. But entitled people never learn. Even after the lawsuit, they tried to reach out. First, through guilt emails about how they never meant to hurt me, how they were just trying to help. Then, when that didn't work, they tried bribery. Mom sent a long email saying they'd be willing to forgive me if I just apologized and let them back into my life. I almost laughed. I didn't respond. Instead, I made my final move. I sold my house, the one they knew I lived in, the one they'd shown up to uninvited more times than I could count. My wife and I moved. New state, new number, new life. I went full no contact. Blocked every email, changed every number. Told my brother he was free to have whatever relationship he wanted with them, but I was done. And just like that, they lost access to me forever. The aftermath. It's been a couple of years now. My wife and I are happy, thriving. And my parents? Well, from what I hear through my brother, they're still bitter. Still telling anyone who will listen that I was stolen from them. But no one cares anymore. They burned every bridge. They played stupid games, and they won the ultimate prize, a lifetime without me. Moral of the story? Some people will never accept that they don't control you. The best revenge is making damn sure they never get another chance to try. Now, if you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button. Unlike my parents, I actually respect boundaries.